Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna. I welcome all dear devotees to our wonderful, blissful Friday satsang. Today we are going to discuss and study together Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, text 30. That is chapter 3, title Karma Yoga, text 30. So let me share my screen. Please let me know if it is visible.
Yes, Prabhu.
Jai. So let us all recite the shloka properly and then we'll proceed with the discussion. So we are discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, text number 30. Some of you maybe can unmute and repeat if possible. So let me recite the verse and then you can repeat after me. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vikatajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashirnirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashirnirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Kindly repeat. Mai sarvani karmani Mai sarvani karmani
I think one devotee can repeat. One devotee.
Yes. Sanyasyadhyatma chetasa
Sannyas.
Okay, all of you can repeat, no problem. Sanyasyadhyatma chetasa
Sannyas.
Mai sarvani karmani Sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashirnirmamo bhutva nirashirnirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani Sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashirnirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Word to word meanings. Mai, unto me. Sarvani, all sorts of. Karmani, activities. Sanyasya, giving up completely. Adhyatma, with full knowledge of the self. Chetasa, by consciousness. Nirashi, without desire for profit. Nirmamaha, without ownership. Bhutva, so being. Yudhyasva, fight. Vigata jvaraha, without being lethargic. Very beautiful shloka. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Translation. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Once again, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. I think somebody can read the purport from the assembled Vaishnavas or Vaishnavis here. Who would like to go for it?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Somebody with me or before me?
There is echo, Prabhu.
Okay. Then somebody else.
Is the echo from my side, perhaps? You can try.
No, not from your side, from the attendee side.
Hare Krishna. So I think when I am speaking, there is somebody else can fight.
Hare Krishna. No, when I am speaking, it is echo. I don't know.
Somebody using two devices nearby. At least one mic should be muted.
Okay. Now it's okay.
Everyone can.
Now I think.
Okay now?
Now okay.
Okay. May I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the opportunity. Purport. The verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord. Because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desire of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetasa. Virashi means that one has to act on order of the master, but should not expect fruity results. The cashier may count billions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mayi or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigada Jora or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyutapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vacharam pangum langayete girim Yatkripatamaham vande Paramananda Madhavam. Hare Krishna. Om Tat Sat. Thank you all so much for giving me this opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is well known fact, but I will still iterate once again for my own purification that I am not at all qualified to perform such a magnanimous service. However, the Vaishnavas are so merciful. This is a live example that somebody who is not at all qualified, they will make them do the highest glorious service of, glorifying the Supreme Lord and his devotees and his instructions. Such magnanimous Vaishnavas have given me this opportunity. So, although I'm not qualified, I would like to do this service with my full heart and commitment. So, I would seek all the blessings and prayers of all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Hare Krishna. So, typically, when I like to address an audience, I like to see how they react, how they are expressing. So it would be nice if all of you can turn on your video, because I'm staring at a black screen and it's emotionally damaging. So, okay. So I am not a very self-realized person, so I am not in a position to give a pravachan at this moment. However, what I thought is taking advantage of this Zoom platform, because it's an online mode. Very nicely we can have group discussions or sort of a study mode. So I thought instead of having a one-sided discussion, let's make it a study session. So what we will be doing is I'll share my screen as a whiteboard, and we will all basically try to understand this particular purport in little deeper fashion. Okay, is that okay, Prabhuji, Mataji?
Yes. Yes.
So let me share my screen. I'll share it in a minute. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Can all of you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Very good. So I just have a whiteboard open, so we can look at some. We'll try to do a workshop now. So what is today's verse? Mayi Sarvani Karmani, correct? How many of you remember the word-to-word meanings? Mayi Sarvani Karmani, Mayi Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa, Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva, Yudhyasva Vigata Jvaraha. The translation is something like this. Right? Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. I also wanted to understand the purport a little bit deeper. So I will paste the purport here as well. We will be discussing the purport in detail. That's it. The whole discussion today is to discuss the purport. I'll just make it a little bigger. So, yes. So this is the purport. Can you all see the text, or shall I make it a little bigger?
Yes, okay, Prabhu. A little bigger will be better.
Yes. So we'll get to that. The shloka is very, very self-explanatory. Karmani. Explain the Sanskrit. Karmani Sanyasya means what? From the translation, very clear.
Karmani means work. Sannyasa means.
Correct. From the translation, what does Srila Prabhupada mean?
Without desiring the profit.
Not desiring.
Simple. No. Surrendering your works unto me. Simple. Prabhupada is saying here. We don't have to put our brains into it. It's all there. Right? And what does Adhyatma Chetasa mean?
Full knowledge of me.
Correct. With full knowledge of me. That's all. So Nirashir means what?
Without desire.
Correct. It's here, clear, right? Prabhupada purport is there, very, very simple. Yes. And Nirmamo Bhutva. Means what?
Who claims for proprietorship?
Yes, actually bhutva means
Living
being, to
entity.
do. That is also one meaning, but here bhutva means what can we say? To do or to perform. What is the exact meaning that Srila Prabhupada says here? Bhutva. So being, yeah, being. Right? Means bhutva. Nirmamo bhutva. Do it like this. Not for me, like that. So nirmamo bhutva. Nirmamo. Nirmamaha. Means what? With no claims to proprietorship. Simple. Vigata Yudhya. So Vigata Jvaraha means what?
Without lethargy.
Free from lethargy, yes. So ultimate recommendation? Correct. Correct. So the key word of this entire purport is this, Mai Sarvani. Krishna is saying, do all this for me. Mai Sarvani, do this for me. Isn't that interesting? So, chapter 3, what is the title of chapter 3?
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga.
Correct. So, what is Karma Yoga in layman terms?
Doing work of duty.
Sorry?
Doing the prescribed work as on duty.
Prescribed works. Correct. So, very, very simple. So, in the third chapter, Krishna is explaining multiple things. First, he starts off by explaining Karma Yoga. Then he explains the process of Yajna. And then now he is explaining the process of Nishkama Karma Yoga until verse number 29. Verse number 30 onwards, he describes the process of Bhakti. And then verse number 36 is a very interesting twist. Okay. So, sloka, right? Now everybody understands the sloka. Let's read the sloka once again together. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Right? It's very simple, self-explanatory. Now, let's understand the purport a little bit detailed. I will increase the font size of the purport a little bit. Yes. Now, Srila Prabhupada is explaining like this. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Okay. Why Prabhupada is saying like that? Nevertheless, duties must be carried out. Yes, but how should they be carried out? With dependence on Krishna. Why? Because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. Srila Prabhupada further explains, the living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord. Because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Right? This is our constitutional position. So Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. This is an important point. Right? And then Srila Prabhupada says one has to sacrifice everything for the good will of the Supreme Lord. He's moving on to the next points. So we'll separate this. and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Interesting point. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. We'll come back to this point. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma. Just like we saw the Sanskrit words, Srila Prabhupada is giving the definitions here in the purport of the important words. Srila Prabhupada, Nirashi. Nirashi means that one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. What is the example that Prabhupada gives? The cashier's example. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. So Prabhupada explains Mai also here and defines it. Further, and when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, he certainly does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called Nirmama, or nothing is mine. Further, and if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of a so-called kinsman in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigata Jwara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. So Srila Prabhupada is describing Vigata Jwara here as well. So further, Prabhupada says, everyone according to his quality and position has a particular type of work to discharge, right? And all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. By doing this, what will happen? The benefit also is given by Srila Prabhupada. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Is it not true? Very interesting. So I want to let's summarize the whole purport once again. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigata jvaraha. Right? Srila Prabhupada is saying, therefore, Krishna is saying, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Now, how many definitions are required here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or Yudhyasva is known. So these definitions are given very, very clearly. What is Adhyatma Chetas? Nirashi, Mai, Nirmama, Vigatachura. Right? Let's once again clearly understand the definitions. Can anybody in simple terms explain what is Adhyatma Chetas? It's there right here on the screen. What is Adhyatma Chetas?
One is fully Krishna conscious.
Correct. So what is the relevance of this particular statement in this shloka? Why should Krishna say Adhyatma Chetas?
Because one who is fully Krishna conscious, he can only discharge the duty with that right attitude and this one. If you are not Krishna conscious, then you will put yourself into picture, or you will try to take some profit out of it, or not do it proper.
Exactly. The active instruction here is Yudhyasva. That's the verb here. Everything else is basically a description of how to do that verb. Is it not true? So, how to do, what to do, but with what mood to do. The mood also, the intent also matters. So here, the intent or the mood is Krishna consciousness, Adhyatma Chetaha. That definition is clear. Nirashi is also explained. What does Nirashi mean? Very clear.
Without desires for fated results.
Without
Desiring for anything.
results. Nirashi, without the result. So you do your action, but don't expect the result. Correct, simple. Now the cash, what is the example? Very, very interesting. Very nice example. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Right? I mean, this is an amazing example that Srila Prabhupada gives to understand what does Nirashi mean. Do your prescribed duty, but don't get attached to the results. Amazing. The whole concept of dasatvam is derived from this particular word, nirasi. Further, I'm describing nirmamo, nirashi nirmamo bhutva, right? Nirmama. What does nirmama mean? And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. Proprietorship. When you hear the word proprietorship, one verse comes to mind immediately. When you read this particular line, what is that particular line?
Bhoktaram Jinatapsam Sarvalokamesh.
Correct. Bhoktaram Yignatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Shantim Richati. Any other verses you can think of? Everything belongs to
Prabhu. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu Mutta Sarvam Prabhu.
Yes. Correct. Anybody else? There are so many people on the call. Any other verses related to proprietorship which you can think of? One particular book which we usually don't open.
Ishavasyam idam sarva.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Prabhu. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchat jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena jita magrida kasya siddhanam. Right? Very interesting. So the definitions are given. I would like to understand these points in relevance. So here is the point. Why is Krishna giving all these things in conjunction? Any thoughts? So why should we do all this? Why is Krishna giving all these recommendations?
So that not to have attachment to activities and the results.
Okay.
Because that is our original constitutional position. This is how we are supposed to fulfill or satisfy Krishna. With any other mood, if you do, it will not please the Lord.
Okay. Mataji, I can't hear you. You're a bit distant.
Is it okay now?
Yes,
Very close
Mataji.
to- Okay, so what I was telling is contextually here Arjuna doesn't want to fight against his family members. So Krishna is telling him, Nirash, don't have such desires that you don't want to fight and all. And don't have any proprietorship that they are your relatives. That is also another point of view. Krishna is telling you have to do it everything for me. If I tell you have to do it. You should not have any, and just because you're doing it for me, don't have that lethargy also that you're not going to get anything out of this. So give up everything, follow these criterion and fight is what is coming to my mind. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you, Mataji. So let's put all of what you all, what other perspectives are there? Anybody else wants to add? This will be a very boring discussion if everybody is silent. Okay, if there are no takeaways, very, very interesting. Let's put things in context. right? Let's see from the shloka itself. Let's discuss something. This is the translation. Just making some space. Yes. So, Vigata Jwaraha. What does this mean? We just saw, right? What does Vigata Jwaraha means?
Without lethargy.
Without lethargy. So, if a person is very lethargic or lazy, what does that person's caution? I mean, what does that remind you of?
He
That
doesn't work
person is in-
willingly. He doesn't work wholeheartedly. He doesn't put his heart and soul into the efforts.
He is
Correct.
influenced by
Mechanical.
Tamoguna.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. So, ignorance. Tamas. Correct. So, Vigata Jwara represents ignorance or tamas. Now, very interestingly, Nirashir or Nirmama, both of these,
Rajoguna.
correct. So, Nirashir and both Nirmama, they both represent passion, because in Surrender Unto Me, Bhurijan Prabhu explains that only when one rises above passion, he is able to think beyond himself and is able to get that mood of detachment, and he is able to rise towards the mode of goodness. So this Nirashir and Nirmama represents one to rise above passion or rajas. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Now, very, very interesting. Bhutva. Let's discuss Bhutva. What does Bhutva mean? We just saw. Bhutva means?
To do. Certain.
Correct. Correct. So being. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains, right? So being. So what does so being represent? One's being, in other words, represents one's identity. That's how you represent yourself. So being, right? So identity can only be established in its truest form when one is situated in the mode of
Guna. Sattva-guna.
goodness. Very interestingly, what does this represent?
Suddha Sattva.
Before this, actually, there is one more thing. Karmani Sanyasya. That comes. Correct? Yes. So what does this represent? Karmani Sanyasya. It's literally the topic of discussion before this shloka. So what was Krishna explaining before the shloka?
Karma Yoga.
Nishkam Karma Yoga. Is everybody with me? Are you able to understand what's going on? Yes, no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, Nishkama Karma Yoga. So, from Sattva Guna, we are rising to Nishkama Karma Yoga. From Nishkama Karma Yoga, Krishna is recommending something revolutionary. Adhyatma Chetasa.
Full Suddha
Adhyatma
Sattva.
Chetasa. Yes, Shuddha Sattva. But that is obtained Adhyatma Chetas, which means knowledge of the absolute. Pursuit of the knowledge of the absolute is called what?
Spiritual path.
Correct? Haribol, some feedback
Yes.
would be nice.
That's
Okay.
good.
Yes. So now Adhyatma Chetasa is Jnana Yoga. Now all what we've discussed is in the purview of even if one is a Jnani or Karmi or a ordinary person in the mode of goodness, passion or ignorance, all of this will still constitute material activities because it is still in the dominion of material nature. Simple as that. Therefore, Krishna has recommended the secret sutra. What is that? The paribhasha of bhakti, which is Mai Sarvani. What does this represent? Bhakti Yoga. Are you able to understand the difference now? So Krishna in this verse is actually explaining Bhakti Yoga from the concept of Nishkama Karma Yoga. Krishna has progressed towards Bhakti Yoga. So the purview of these activities without Krishna, without the presence or offering of Krishna, will constitute material activity. But when all of these are dovetailed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead for his pleasure, that becomes Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Krishna says, always, wherever, right? He is recommending my, unto me, with full knowledge of me, right? So that is very, very important. Mai Sarvani. So Bhakti Yoga. Interesting.
Haribol.
Now, the progression of a Jivatma from animalistic life to ignorance, passion, goodness, Nishkam, Sakam, Nishkama, Jnana or Buddhi Yoga and then Bhakti Yoga is called what? The Yoga ladder. Correct?
Yoga Ruta.
Correct. That's the Yoga ladder. That is the whole Bhagavad Gita that is summarized in one place. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada has opened his purport by stating that this verse clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Interesting. Now, we will get back to this section in a bit. However, now we understand the intent of sacrifice. Right? After explaining so much, Krishna is saying, or Prabhupada is recommending, Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order, key word being consider. For example, explaining all of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said, Yathechasi tatha kuru. But if Arjuna said, Krishna, I need to take notes, I need to think about this, maybe I will do it during my retirement age, I will not fight now. The whole point was to, encourage Arjuna to fight right then and there. Therefore, multiple times when we receive instructions from the sadhus or whenever, simple instruction, when we say chant Hare Krishna, people are lethargic, right? Chant, 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 can't. The point is there is no consideration here because it is the order of the Lord. Our only duty is to execute his order. That's it. Especially in the war field, right? We have Sudarshan Vasudev Prabhu, who is an ex-serviceman. Thank you, Prabhu, for your service. So both spiritual and transcendental. So, during the training, when the cadet is an ordinary citizen, when he is admitted into the military academy, his literal personality is broken down into pieces due to military drills. And discipline is grilled into his personality, and his consciousness, mood is changed in such a way he gets an order or a command or an instruction, he executes blindly without questioning it. Finish. Shoot that fellow, that's all. No thinking how, which angle, this, nothing. March means march. Turn back, aage mud, piche mud, die, bye. The drills are necessary so that we are likened to executing orders. Therefore, sadhana bhakti is very, very important for a spiritual practitioner, so that he is inclined to execute the orders of the spiritual master. In other words, inclined to execute the will of the Lord. Therefore, there is no consideration for a jivatma, because we are all, after all, servants or dasas or dasis. That's why this line is amazing. If you dwell on it, you will get so much nectar. Right? Adhyatma Chetas, this describes the mood in which everything needs to be done. And the other definitions give us the progression of consciousness one Jivatma undergoes in his activity. Now, I want to summarize one description. Within the material purview, if one has to become successful, what does one need? Very simple. If one has to become successful in material life, what does he need? Can we have a discussion?
I must attain Purushartha, Prabhu. At least as is the first three. Dharmartha, Kama.
Dharmartha, Kama, yes. Sorry, Mataji.
She says hard work. Prabhu.
Hard work, okay. So hard work and dharma leads to what? What is the currency of material enjoyment? As per the Dharma Shastras, what is the currency? Huh? Currency, not outcome. What is the currency of material?
Precious time, Prabhu.
Precious time, okay. What else?
One needs material wealth.
Material wealth, okay. Fame, okay.
Your energy.
Sorry, energy?
Yeah. You have to
energy,
invest a lot of.
Correct. And efforts and endeavors. So all of these, for example, all of these, if you put in, right, in your material endeavors, you get some material credit or material currency. What is that material credit called? Good credit and bad credit. So what is good credit and bad credit in Sanskrit called?
Karma.
Karma and
Papa.
Punya and Papa. Correct. Punya and Papa. They are the currencies of material enjoyment. Karma and Vikarma are the different kinds of activities to do to obtain Punya and Papa. Simple as that. Right? So Punya and Papa, or let's forget about Papa. Punya is required in the dominion of material activity for one to progress. Correct? So what is that activity which is recommended to obtain Punya? What to do to obtain Punya?
That is Karma Kanda.
Karma Kanda or good deeds. In other words, Krishna also recommends in this chapter Yajna. One should perform Yajna.
Yajna, Dana.
Correct. Yajna, Dana, Tapas. In short, Yajna. Yajna is supposed to be performed to obtain lots of pious credit. But if one does not act according to the law of material nature or the laws of God, so he will incur sin. Correct? So one accumulation of his progress in life is checked. Is that clear? Now let's think out of the box. So now let's think about bhakti. if one has to progress in bhakti, just like in material life, we had to get punya and papa, in bhakti, in bhakti life, in Krishna conscious life, what does one person need to progress?
Mercy.
Kripa,
Sukruti.
effort,
Endeavor.
sukriti, bhakti sukriti, correct. So bhakti sukriti is the currency. Similarly, what is that one thing that can check bhakti? Which means we understood that if we perform vikarma, then we will fall down in material life. But what is that one thing we do in bhakti which is leading to our fall down?
Aparad.
Aparad. Correct. So therefore, the currency of bhakti is sukriti. And bhakti or the progress in bhakti is checked by committing aparad. Now, very important. How does one obtain sukriti?
By serving.
By serving.
Vaishnavas or the Lord, either directly or indirectly.
Correct. What else? What are the other ways to obtain bhakti sukriti?
Costless mercy.
Without expectation.
It can
Without
be given to you. Correct. Yes, without expectations. What are the other ways? Other ways in which one can progress in Krishna consciousness.
Keep
Many
trying
people
always. Keep trying.
Yes.
Association also.
Damodar month, Purushottam month, whatever we do extra.
Correct. Now I want to compare. Okay, let's write these down because it might make sense. Let's compare bhakti with the progress in bhakti versus progress in. Okay. So we said punya is required here. And we also discussed you need sukriti. I will increase the font. Or for bhakti, you also need, or you don't need, in fact. Correct? Okay, this is what we discussed until now. Simple. Now, I have a very clear question. And we also discussed, what to do. Okay, what to do to obtain sukriti, what to do to obtain aparad, papa and punya. Now, punya is very easy. Everybody loves punya, is it not? If somebody gives you 100 KD, I will never say no. So if somebody offers you punya also, we will not be like a fool to say no to punya. Let's think about the material dominion. But how to get rid of papa? For materialists, think about that. How does
He has to have the knowledge of scriptures and he has to have proper association.
Prayachittam, Prabhuji, for materialists.
Prayaschitta? The subject matter of this question is which canto?
6th canto.
Correct. Right? This whole thing has been described. Actually speaking, for a person, obtaining punya is very easy. Very easy. Getting rid of papa is also very easy. Very, very simple. Can I tell you the easiest method of doing both in one shot? we all like, buy one, get one free, right? Amararjun Prabhu always says, buy one, get one free. So get punya, get rid of papa for free. So what to do? Simple. If you follow Ekadashi and if you read the Ekadashi pastimes, there are so many descriptions in the Ekadashi pastimes, is it not? If you fast in this much way, you will get so much punya, and so many generations of or so many lifetimes of papa is ridden. One day enough to get rid of all your papa and get so much punya. Is it not amazing? Haribol?
Haribol.
So to think of this deeply, papa and punya is not a big deal actually. Because just within one day, somebody is getting so much sukriti or so much papa or punya, which means it might not be very valuable. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so abundantly and easily available, which means there is something much beyond this, which is sukriti or aparat. We all described or discussed how to get sukriti. Here's the question: how to get rid of aparat? So, how does one obtain sukriti? When one surrenders unto Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, then that is how one gets sukriti. There is a very famous verse, right, from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let me open that verse. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Uh, 22 point, what I think. I'll look for that verse. The point is the 6 items of surrender. Who knows the 6 items of surrender? Anybody knows? Memorized? Anukulyasya sankalpam pratikulyasya varjanam rakshayiti vishwaso kritve varnam tata yes atma nikshepa karpanye. Yes, Shadbir Bhaktir, Shadbir Sharanagati. Yes. So these are the 6 ways in which one can surrender unto Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Accepting that which is favorable for Krishna consciousness, rejecting that which is not. Right? Rakshetiti Vishwaso, having complete faith that the Lord will protect us in all circumstances. Goptritve Varanam Tatha, which means what? The Lord is our protector and benefactor, accepting Him as our ultimate well-wisher and benefactor. Right? Atma Nikshepa, which means complete giving up of oneself unto the Lord. And Karpanya, which means what? Humility. So these are the 6 ways in which one can completely surrender unto the Supreme Lord. And when one surrenders unto Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra in the ways that they have described, then one obtains Bhakti Sukriti and progresses in Bhakti. However, neither Papa or Punya or nothing material can check or halt the progress of Bhakti. There is only one thing that can halt the progress of Bhakti. And what is that? Aparad. So, in short, we all have to be very, 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 very cautious of this one thing, which is aparad. Can somebody name different kinds of aparad that you know? Vaishnava aparad, correct.
Dham aparad.
Correct.
Seva aparad.
Seva aparad.
Ram aparad.
Seva aparad.
Correct. What else?
Vaishnava aparad.
So there are many kinds of, correct, like that. So there are many kinds of aparad like this, offenses that one can commit. Now, I would like to understand or workshop this idea. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu terms aparad as the mad elephant offense. What is the mad elephant offense?
Vaishnava aparad.
Correct. I wanted to understand how can one get free of Vaishnava aparad?
Fall at the feet of Krishna.
Taking the dust of the feet.
Taking the dust of the Vaishnavas, beg for forgiveness, glorify them. Yes. Amlarji Prabhu.
Serving the Vaishnavas without expectation.
Serving the Vaishnavas without expectations. What else?
Being tolerant.
Being tolerant. What else? Here is where I...
Humility.
Yes.
Showing
Humility. Showing humility. So, by performing all these, until now, I was of the understanding that if with whatever all of you have mentioned, if we approach a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi unto whom we have committed offense and we beg for their forgiveness, and if they forgive us, then will our offense be completely eradicated? Yes or no?
Yes, if they will forgive, it will be forgive.
If they forgive, it will be gone. Okay.
But Krishna will not forget.
Krishna will not forget. Okay. So if so all of you have recommended some things, and now you are saying it won't work. So what should we do now?
If Vaishnava forgives, like in the case of Ambarish Maharaj, when he forgave Durvasa, the Lord and Sudarshan also forgave.
So there is something that I have throughout my study I have discovered. This is from the lectures of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and from His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj. So I just wanted to study the concept of offenses a little more deeper, and I would like to add some points here. So it seems just by forgiveness, one cannot get rid of the offense that one has committed against Vaishnavas. Forgiveness or kshama is not alone enough. Not repentance, that is also not enough. That is explained in the 6th canto. What else is required for one to completely rid oneself of Vaishnava aparadha or any aparadha for that matter? Let's discuss this in a little more detail. The word aparadha in itself is very, very interesting. If you look at this, right, now Kartik month is coming, so this might be a very good point for us to meditate. The whole dominion of bhakti is ruled by whom? Who is in charge of the dominion of bhakti?
Radharani.
Radharani. Radharani. That is why aparadha, when one performs something that is completely opposite of bhakti, it is called aparadha, which means one rids oneself of the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Isn't that interesting? I've never looked at offenses this way. When I heard of this, it's mind-blowing. Aparadha. One is completely rid of the mercy of Srimati Radharani, and without her mercy, how can even one exist? Right? So, aparad, how aparad works is like this. The way one should rid oneself of aparad is two ways. One, either experience the effects of the aparad and exhaust it. Because if you have committed aparad, definitely you will get reaction. So you have to completely experience that reaction and exhaust it completely, similar to karma. and obtain the favor of the Vaishnava that you have offended. Favor in Sanskrit is called anugraha. So kshama alone is not sufficient. You have to obtain anugraha. This is not very simple to understand. Let me clarify it further. Imagine somebody, if some of you all can turn on your videos, that will be nice. Because I'm just staring at a black screen. Imagine some person stole a car from somewhere. And out of repentance, this person thought that, oh my God, I did something very bad. I shouldn't have committed this offense. Let me go and beg forgiveness from this Vaishnava. So that particular thief goes and begs forgiveness from that person and says, Prabhuji, I'm so sorry I stole your car. I got carried away due to my past habits and my inclinations. And I committed this offense. So I'm very, very sorry that I stole your car. Because Vaishnavas are very, very tolerant, forbearant, and magnanimous, the Vaishnava's nature is to forgive. Is it not true? So the Vaishnava will definitely forgive. Oh, it's just a car. It's just a material object. Don't worry. I completely forgive you. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So the Vaishnava will forgive that person, that thief, for stealing that car. Kshama is obtained. However, he is still not free from the reaction of stealing that car. Did you understand? Because that Vaishnava had a car, but now he doesn't have a car because of that act of stealing. Therefore, there is some vacuum or gap, shortcoming that is created in his life. This particular thief or the offender should endeavor extra hard to earn more money within a short span of time to reduce the inconvenience of that Vaishnava and get one more brand new car and say, Prabhuji, I'm so sorry. I fall at your lotus feet. I have stolen your car. Here is a brand new car for you. I beg your forgiveness. That extra mile of endeavor is required to remedy that, damage that one has done to that Vaishnava. Then one obtains the favor of that particular Vaishnava, which is called anugraha. Then that offense is remediated, not simply by forgiveness. One should understand the repercussions one has, committed through his offense to the life and bhakti of other Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and try to remedy that particular situation. Only then one can get free from offenses. In this connection, I would like to, describe some pastimes that happened. Let us understand how Vaishnava aparadha is so serious, and how our previous acharyas and the exalted Vaishnavas took these Vaishnava aparadhas so seriously in their life and completely, committed their entire existence onto remediating this particular situation. I would like to narrate two different pastimes. One pastime is once, please listen to this very attentively. Once, Murari Gupta came to Gadadhar Pandit and described, saying that, do you know what? I know of some very, very exalted devotee, some wonderful magnanimous qualities. I want to take you to that devotee and, ensure that you have that devotee's darshan and we all take shelter from him. Let's listen to some nice nectar from that wonderful devotee. Now, Gadadhar Pandit is wondering, who is this wonderful devotee that I have never heard of? Then both Murari Gupta and Gadadhar Pandit go to that particular devotee. Who is this devotee? This devotee is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. When they go to Pundarik Vidyanidhi is, in grand royal attire and dress. He's bedecked with jewels. Nice ittar perfume is coming from his fragrant body. And he has fragrant oils also, smeared all over his hair. And he has ornaments all over his neck and body. And he was lying down in a very soft, cushy and, luxurious sofa. So when Gadadhar Pandit looked at Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he was thinking, is this the sadhu? Is this the devotee that you are mentioning? He didn't say outside, but he was thinking in this way. How can this person be a saintly person? He is so, engrossed in material activity, in so much luxury. This person is a sadhu. Then Murari Gupta recited one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is that verse, Aho Bakiyam Stanakaya Kutam, about Putana. As soon as Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard about this verse, he started to become mad in ecstasy through all of his belongings. He started to run here and there. His hairs were standing on end. Or he started to topple all the objects in his house. His hair was disheveled. He completely lost control of himself, and he got lost in ecstasy, thinking that, oh my God, Krishna, you're so merciful. Even Putana got the mercy. She came to kill you, but you gave the position of mother in Vaikuntha. My Lord, I am so wretched. I am still not able to receive your mercy. In that way, he started to lament, shed, oceans of tears, and he went into a state of ecstasy. Now, looking at this mood of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Gadadhar Pandit were completely, shocked. My God, what deep mood he has. What deep devotion he has. Actually, he is a sadhu. He is a real Vaishnava. I don't have an inclination of this mood at all in my life. Then he was thinking, my God, I have committed such a great offense of thinking ill of this Vaishnava. Just by thinking ill of that particular person, just by judging him, Gadadhar Pandit started to repent that I have committed such a great offense. I was not able to identify an exalted Vaishnava just right before my eyes. Then Gadadhar Pandit started to lament. He consulted with Mahaprabhu and other exalted Vaishnavas. And then he decided that I will take initiation from the same person who I have offended, and I will commit myself as the servant of the servant of the servant of that person, lifetime after lifetime. And then by the permission of all the fellow exalted Vaishnavas and Mahaprabhu's, permission, Gadadhar Pandit took initiation and declared himself the servant of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. To that extent, he surrendered himself unto Pundarik Vidyanidhi, just for thinking ill of him once. We understand the extent of Vaishnava Aparadha, how dangerous it is. And when one commits such a thing, to what extent Vaishnavas have sacrificed themselves just to remediate that situation. I'll tell you one more story or pastime from the Mahabharata. One day, Yudhishthir Maharaj decides to conduct a Rajasuya Yajna. When Yudhishthir Maharaj was conducting this Rajasuya Yajna, as you all know, the paraphernalia for Yajna should be 100% pure. The personalities who are conducting the Yajna, the Brahmanas, should be 100% pure. What was the test of the Brahmanas who were conducting the Yajna? What was the test? Entrance exam. What was their entrance exam before conducting Yajna? Anybody knows?
They were asked to sacrifice animals, and by mantra, the animals should get back the life.
Correct. So there is prelims and mains, right? So prelims is basically they will chant mantra and fire will come automatically. So with their potency, with their Brahma Tejas, they will create fire out of their mantra. So that is the prelims. And the mains entrance exam is they will give life, a new body. They will rejuvenate a new body for an animal. In this way, there were multiple tests that were conducted to ensure that the yajnas were conducted in 100% purity, pure state of consciousness. So conducting a yajna is not an ordinary state of affairs. Now, when Yudhishthir Maharaj was conducting this Rajasuya Yajna, the whole yajna was over and final offering was going on. For offering, what do you need in hand? Bell. Whole yajna was over, but bell was not ringing. Somebody was hardly was trying. Sometimes when we try to blow the conch shell also, conch shell does not blow. Is it not true? So the Brahmanas were trying to ring the bell constantly, but the sound was not coming from the bell. Now, Yudhishthira, all the Pandavas and everybody were freaking out that, what offense was committed, that bell is not ringing. So, obviously, they all went and consulted to Lord Shri Krishna. The Lord mentioned that there was some deficiency in your yajna process. Therefore, because of this offense, your yajna will not be complete. Now, Arjuna, being the chivalrous Kshatriya, as he was thinking, what? How can there be shortcoming of my brother, Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is the personification of Dharma? Impossible. I will immediately remediate this situation for the pleasure of my brother. Then he started to, consult to Krishna that, my Lord, please tell me, what was the offense that was committed and tell me the process. Any process, any remediation, I am ready to give up my life itself for the success of my brother's yajna. Then, as usual, Krishna says, calm down, calm down. The issue is, you have offended one Vaishnava Brahmana. Out of the whole kingdom, you have offended one Vaishnava Brahmana. What was that offense? You have not taken care of him properly. One Vaishnava Brahmana was not cared of properly. So then immediately all the Pandavas led by Arjun go to the hermitage or the kutia, the shelter of this particular Vaishnava Brahmana, and they fall at his lotus feet and they beg for his forgiveness that, Sadhu Baba, Vaishnavji, Vaishnava Thakura, oh hey Vaishnava Thakura, Doyara Sagara, Eda se Koruna Kori. Like that. They were all begging forgiveness at the lotus feet of this Brahmana. And this Brahmana was thinking, I am a poor Brahmana. I have no business in such a big Rajasuya Yajna. However, magnanimously, Yudhishthira Maharaj, out of your busy schedule, all of you Pandavas have come to me. No, I have not taken any offense. I am just, a normal Brahmana. I am doing my sadhana in my small hermitage. I am happy with my sadhana. No forgiveness business, nothing. Whatever, if there have been something, I will completely excuse you. You all can go back to your business. All the Pandavas were so happy that, my God, this, Vaishnava Brahmana has forgiven us. So they all went back very, very happily, and they were trying to complete the yajna sacrifice. So then finally the time of the offering has come. Ding, 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 ding. They're trying to shake the bell. Once again, no sound. Sometimes in Zoom, we all say, na, Prabhuji, no audio. Here also, no audio for Prabhuji. So now again, Pandavas are thinking, my God, the bell is not ringing, so the Rajasuya sacrifice will not be successful. What to do? So then again, they look towards Krishna. And then Krishna says, this is not the way that you have completely remediated the situation. So all the Pandavas once again go and fall at the lotus feet of that Vaishnava Brahmana, and they invite him for a grand reception at the Hastinapur palace. And then Arjuna repeatedly, requests the Brahmana that, my dear Lord, please come, please come. We want to serve you. You are very, very dear. Namo Brahmani Devaya, Go Brahmani Etaicha. You are very, very dear. Brahmanas are very dear to the Lord. So we all want to serve you and please you and, remediate the situation. So kindly come and accept our service. So then the Brahmana was a little worried that, my God, first of all, you are coming and asking sorry. I didn't do anything. Now, next you are coming and asking that you want to serve me. If somebody is genuinely humble, first of all, if somebody comes and says sorry or asks for forgiveness, they are completely shaken. Now, beyond forgiveness, this person is coming and saying, I want to serve you. Then a genuinely humble person really gets shaken that, he does not like to accept that particular service. Then this particular Brahmana, Vaishnava Brahmana is saying that, no. I'm happy with my sadhana. I'm just doing my daily practices in my hermitage. I'm happy with my daily routine. I don't have to come and, I don't need any grand reception or anything. But then Arjuna completely insists again and again and again and takes him to Hastinapura palace. A grand reception was organized, huge mandap was organized, golden throne was set up for this particular Brahmana, and one big feast was organized only for the pleasure of this Brahmana, because we all know Brahmana Bhojana Priya. So the feast was offered. In fact, Draupadi personally cooks the feast. Wonderful, amazing dishes that were unknown, with very, very costly, expensive items, cashews, desi ghee, and saffron, whatnot. Now, thinking about this only, our mouths are watering. So the Brahmana also was very, very happy. So he honored the feast, and then he was given multiple presentations and offerings as gifts, and then he went back to his hermitage as usual. Now, after this grand endeavor, so much hard work, of course, it was, they put in to please this particular Brahmana. The time was again to complete the sacrifice. Correct. So then the time again for the offerings came, and during offering, again they are ringing the bell. So when they are ringing the bell, this time what do you think happened? The third time, the bell is ringing or no? Audio came or not? What do you think?
No.
No. No audio. Even now, bell is not ringing. Now Pandavas lost it, saying that no, we did so much to please this particular Brahmana. He is still not pleased. Krishna, what should we do now? Then Krishna said, out of you Pandavas, maybe somebody from the Sabha, right? The attendees who have attended the Yarasi Yajna, they have offended this Brahmana. Now, hearing this, the Pandavas were looking at each other, and they were completely confident of themselves that, they were very humble and submissive. But when looking at the audience, right, 360 view was going on. One person's head was down with shame. Who was that? It was Draupadi. When Draupadi was looking at, at the floor a little ashamed, the Pandavas were a bit perplexed. Like, my God, Draupadi, you have offended this Brahmana? Then Draupadi reveals her mind and heart, and she shares, saying that, actually, I was very, very excited and, enthusiastic to serve the Brahmana, because I know from the Shastra that the Lord accepts sacrifices only with two ways. One is through fire, and the other one is through the mouths of the Brahmanas. So I was very eager and excited to serve this particular Brahmana. And I put in all of, my effort, all of my creativity, all of my endeavor, enthusiasm into serving this particular Brahmana. However, when this Brahmana was, honoring his prasadam, what happened is, he mixed all of these items that I prepared with so much hard work and effort into one big khichdi. He made one big khichdi and he started to eat. And in my mind, I was thinking, Chichi, such a low life person, doesn't even know, he's calling himself a Vipra, a Brahmana, but he doesn't know how to eat properly and neatly also. What a ugly and, uncivilized person. That way, mentally, Draupadi was judging this particular Brahmana. But if you go even to Jagannath Puri, if you go even today, right, the Pandas, they will never differentiate between dal, sabji, khichdi, payasam, nothing, rice. They also mix everything together and they will honor prasadam, even till date. The true Vaishnavas, they always do that today. Even in our congregation, I don't want to take names, but I know many devotees who do that, even today. Why? Because they don't want to differentiate between the various offerings that the Lord has honored. Because after all, it is prasad, mercy. How can you say one mercy is different from other? One is greater than the other. I like this mercy and I like gulab jamun mercy. I don't like karela sabji mercy. How can you differentiate between mercy? To avoid that differentiation, the Vaishnavas, they usually mix everything and they honor. So because considering it as the treasure, because it's treasure really. It's beyond nectar. It's treasure that the Lord has offered to us. Yasya prasadat Bhagavad prasad, right? Bhagavad prasad. Right? So therefore, this was the mood of this Vaishnava Brahman. When this was revealed to the Pandavas, now the Pandavas are completely dejected. And Draupadi is also so disappointed in herself that she has let down all the Pandavas, let down Krishna. Because of course, Draupadi being the wife of the Pandavas, the expectations were very, very, very high from such a personality. So now once again, the Pandavas along with Draupadi and Krishna, they all approach the hermitage of this Vaishnava Brahmana. Once again, they fall at his lotus feet and they once again request him to another feast. Now this Brahmana is thinking, ye to had ho gaya yaar. Now there is limits. First of all, you came and asked me for sorry. I didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Next, you invited for one grand reception and feast. Now you are saying one more feast. Already my stomach is full. What more do you want to expect from me? Then he says, no, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm happy with whatever I'm doing. Then Draupadi falls at his feet and then, invites him and says, Maharaj, I'm so sorry that I have offended you. I would like to serve you and return my, offerings of you and accept my invitation. Then after repeated big mandap was arranged and everything. For the second invitation, the Pandavas arranged 1,000 times greater invitation. They arranged 1,000 times grander Vyasasana. They arranged 1,000 times bigger feast. They arranged 1,000 times bigger mandapa. And their humility also grew 1,000 times. With thousands of obeisances, now with a humble mood of awe and reverence, they were serving this particular Vaishnava Brahmana. As usual, knowing the mood of the Vaishnava Brahmana, as usual, he did not differentiate between any of the feast items. He started to mix everything in one big, pool, and then he honored the feast and then he went away. After the Vaishnava Brahmana went away, now the Pandavas started to conclude the Yajna ceremony and they started to ring the bell. When they started to ring the bell, what happened? Hurry! The bell started to ring so loudly, the Yajna was completely successful. Now, although forgiving, the offense of Vaishnava Aparadha is so dangerous. There is only one reason why a devotee falls down from his position. In Bhagavatam, there are so many offenses, examples or episodes of devotees who have fallen down in exalted positions, right? For example, we see the example of Daksha, who criticized Lord Shiva, right? I'm just remembering in one purport, Prabhupada says, when I heard this, I was shocked because Daksha is a demigod and he is one of the Prajapatis. And he is the father of Mother Sati, father-in-law of Lord Shiva. So he's not an ordinary personality. Come on. Daksha is a really, really exalted person. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada writes, Daksha is envy personified. When I heard this, my heart was a bit shattered. I couldn't believe it. Because he offended a Vaishnava. Can you imagine such criticism for Daksha? He had to take birth twice. And then finally, once again, Mother Parvati is also married to Lord Shiva, and that is how it is remediated. And then he offends again. He continues to offend people after that also. Anyway, that's the point. Next, we see can you give some more examples of how personalities have offended somebody and fallen down? We saw Ambarish and Durvasha, very, very famous. example of Shaubara Muni. Anybody remembers? What was the offense that Shaubara Muni committed and how did he fall down from his position? Anybody remembers?
Offended Garuda.
Garuda.
Correct. He offended Garuda. How did he offend Garuda?
Because Garuda used to come to Yamuna and he used to feed on fishes. So fishes take shelter of Shaubara and Shaubara cursed Garuda that if you come to Yamuna, he will be killed, I think. He will die.
Correct.
Yes. So he offended Garuda.
Correct. And therefore, that same fishes caused his fall down. Is it not true?
Yes.
Yes. So therefore, we can see in our not only in our life, in any of these personalities, there are hundreds of episodes in our scriptures where magnanimous personalities have fallen down only because of the that they have committed. Right? This is the danger of Vaishnava aparadha or any aparadha for that matter. Aparadha. When one commits an offense, he is completely devoid of the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So it's so dangerous. Right? So this is how one should remedy oneself. He should get both kripa and anugraha. Both are required for one person to remediate himself from the offense. We are very, 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 very fortunate because first of all, we are Kalyuga Vasis. In both of the pastimes that we have described, both offenses were mental. They were not even physical. They just thought ill of a Vaishnava. And they took it so seriously. In Kali Yuga, mental offenses are not counted. We are very, very, very lucky. If mental offenses would have been finished by now. Completely finished. No question of satsanga, no question of program, nothing. One round of Hare Krishna is enough to completely finish us. Is it not true? So our way of progressing in Krishna consciousness is in the first order of business is to obediently follow the instructions of the spiritual master. That would be the senior Vaishnavas or one's own Shiksha and Diksha Gurus and our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, other Acharyas in the Parampara. So Guru. And of course, what is Guru recommending? The instructions that are mentioned in the scriptures. Right? Guru and Sadhu are always referring to the scriptures. So therefore, by abiding to the recommendations or the injunctions of the scriptures, one can easily stay away from committing Vaishnava. And the way and the mood in which one can prohibit himself from committing Vaishnava aparadha is through developing the mood of humility. Tinnadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnana, amanina manadina kirtanya sadahari. Right? So by actively taking initiative of not committing the 10 holy offenses against the holy name, one can make very, very quick progress. It is also mentioned, right? One who desires success, we all recite the 10 offenses every day. So this is the purport of that whole description, right? So this is how I just want to summarize that, how one can make progress in both material and spiritual life. However, progress in material life, we all know that, it is taking us nowhere or it leads to further bondage. Very, very interesting. This whole, what is the yajna that is prescribed for our, let's say, our particular phase of cosmic manifestation or our yoga? What is the yajna of this yoga? Sankirtan yajna, yes. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyatha. Who is the, let's say, inaugurator of this Sankirtan movement or Sankirtan Yajna, Mahaprabhu. Therefore, this Sankirtan Yajna is like a war that is declared against Maya. It's a war that has been declared against Maya. Our Sankirtan Yajna initiator or king or founder is the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. We are all in the military discipline of Rupa Goswami because we are all following his instructions. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult because definitely understanding the scriptures of Rupa Goswami or any scripture for that matter by one's own endeavor is practically impossible because our own intelligence is not pure. Is it not true? Therefore, however, we must do this. It is not that it is impossible. We must do this. How? With dependence on Krishna. Our dependence is completely on Mahaprabhu and his teachings, which were revealed by Srila Rupa Goswami and propagated by his followers in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Right? We are very, very fortunate because we are part of the movement in this particular war under the Senapati Bhakta, Srila Prabhupada. Right? I remember one Simavati Mataji was singing this bhajan. Priti vite ache jota nagar adigrama sarvatra prachara hoibe mora nama bhakti vedanta swami Srila Prabhupada Senapati Bhakta Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Right? So the military discipline, the mood of military discipline, we can obtain from our own beloved Srila Prabhupada. Why? Because that is our constitutional position. So this we can understand, just to summarize, our fight should be to follow the instructions of the Acharyas, the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, to not commit any offenses against the holy name, against any Vaishnavas or Vaishnavis, against Dham, Nam, right, Guru, and make steadfast progress in Krishna consciousness. So with this, I would like to conclude our study discussion today. If there have been any shortcomings or offenses, kindly forgive me. My action for Anugraha would be to study more sincerely with all of your blessings. So I would like to beg again forgiveness once again at the lotus feet of all the assembled Vaishnavis and Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. Anatokoti Vaishnavindi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At this moment, I would like to open the floor for any questions or comments or clarifications, any additions that you would like to add. Any takeaways?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, it was truly a seminar. And one thing which was really the big takeaways in terms of how to be very, very careful when we deal with Vaishnavas. I think that's my takeaway. Because sometimes it can also happen that we might jokingly say something, we might, without intention, we might say something, we might take our own Vaishnavas for granted because of probably the proximity that we have. But I think we have to be grave. I think the word grave has got a lot of attributes, qualities that we have to definitely imbibe. You gave some very nice examples about that Brahmana, the bell not ringing because of various types of aparad, mental aparad that we might perform. So my takeaway is we have to be very cautious. We might think that we are progressing in bhakti, but because of aparad, that should not be a showstopper. So this is what I have learned. Thank you very much for the very deep discussion. I won't call this as a lecture. It's a seminar, as you rightly put it at the beginning. It's a study session. that that we get benefit through this online platform. We have the time. We can dwell deep into these topics and remind ourselves about how insignificant our position is in this whole scheme of things. We might think that we are doing so many things, but actually it's not really the case. So thank you, Prabhuji, for your deep insights on this topic. We had started off on a particular purport, on a particular sloka, but I think you have covered a lot many things way beyond the purports through several scriptural references and beautiful examples and pastimes. So thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
On that note, I must say how much we should thank Prabhupada, Prabhu. In one shloka out of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada gives so much nectar, so much. This purport is completely loaded. It's like a nuclear bomb filled with so much bhakti energy. Just it should explode in our hearts. That's it. We'll be inundated with bhakti. This is amazing purport.
No, Prabhuji, every purport, when we talk about the synonyms, like I can relate to the Damodar Ashtakam. When we read the Damodar Ashtakam, every word is a lecture. It's as a class on its own. Like Amrendra Prabhu, if there's a series of, I think, 40 days or 50 days, he has given lecture on every single word of this Damodar Ashtakam. So I was just reminded, I was able to relate that to what you gave today. Every word you can elaborate and dwell on it and meditate on it and see how we can really, take this course correction in our life. So thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna.
Perhaps what we can do, that reminded me of something. What we can do is the month of Srimati Radharani is now upcoming. So what we can do is we can pray to her, saying that we may never remain aparadha. We always want to be saradha. Right? We want to be always be dasanu gopi partu padakamale or dasa dasanu das. We want to always remain under their shelter. So I think we can pray in this way. We can also offer repeated obeisances to all the personalities. One exercise which might be very, very interesting is all of you can count the number of personalities that are in your altar. You will be shocked to know the more you count, the more personalities you will discover in your altar. You might think that, oh, I might only have 10, 15, but if you analyze carefully, you will find some more personalities whom you must have never casually ignored. So this might be something interesting to be more sensitive to the personalities whom you are offering on the altar. And on the point of lethargy in this particular shloka, one should, I remember a very, very nice instruction that Radhesham Prabhu gave when I was in person with him in Hyderabad. Radhesham Prabhu mentioned one should never be lazy or lethargic to offer obeisances. That is a very, very quick way to avoid any aparadh. So as soon as one feels like one should offer obeisances or one is in the presence of divinity, one should immediately offer obeisance. I think these can be some exercises that one can actively try to imbibe in the month of Damodar. That would be nice. Kartika Vrata. Hare Krishna. I heard some Mataji who wanted to contribute something. Can we hear some more inputs, realizations, comments, takeaways?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, then the pranams Prabhu, then the pranams to you and all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Thank you Prabhu. As Prabhuji already said, it's a wonderful seminar. A lot of insights are there to take away points. As the main key point was, as Prabhuji said, it's a Vaishnava Aparadh. You have to be very careful. Saying is easy, but again, when we try to implement, we should sometimes we become very complacent, familiar with few devotees because of a long period of time. But we should be very again careful not to commit anything. And you have given a lot of practical insights also on how to, develop in this Kartik month, especially favorable to obtain the mercy of the Guru and Srimati Radharani. And also the Prabhupada purport is beautifully explained line by line, more detailed in depth way, very practical ways how Srila Prabhupada, even though when we read it at first time, we may not realize the depth of this purport when we put it in lines like a notes. We understand the deeper meaning of each lines. So that was very striking also. So a lot of takeaway messages, and again, it's all the prayers and our mood that will help us to cultivate in our devotional service. And thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for putting your time and efforts in inspiring and enlightening all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So any other devotees would have any questions, comments? So it could have been better if you had the physical class, but still as time is not much favorable for that. We are seeing, so hopefully very soon we will try to resume at the earliest. Hare Krishna. So any other questions or comments?
Any questions?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So yeah, Prabhu.
Yes,
So there are no questions. I'd like to thank our heartfelt gratitude to Prabhu for taking this, wonderful journey in this verse to deeper aspects of Krishna consciousness, where we are to be cautious, where we are to be very, inspirational, so many things, so many points. So thank you, Prabhu, and let us all express our gratitude to Prabhu by taking the shelter of this holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare
Srimad
Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita Yatharoopa ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada
Jai
ki
Prabhupada.
jai. Gaur Premanande.
Gaura Premanande. His Grace, Shri Kalyan Prabhu, Gaura Prabhu ki.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories
Jai.
to Srila
Thank you,
Prabhupada.
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sudarshan Prabhu, you would like to say anything? Prabhu?
No, Prabhu. Anyway, we are very fortunate to have the online association. We expected to have physical association, but as you said, the first opportunity we will resume it. Situation become favorable, Prabhu. But, everything is fine, Prabhu. I think
In the interim period, whenever we decide to have offline classes, I think we should not come in kurta or not wear any tilak. So I've got some information that people are around. So let us come in a normal civil dress, and if required,